Hello guys, my name is Khan, and actually in this video I will show you guys that how you can label variables and how you can label values in Stata. So I'm starting with auto.dtf file. So I will just double click it and Stata will open it. So just like that, as I always recommend to make a do file or code file. So whatever you do in Stata, so I will go here and I will make my new do file. I will command do file related to labeling in Stata. So this is going to be our do file for today. So I have to save it. So I will save it. I'm going to save it. Let's do here. So just save it here. So now we will start with labeling. So I will go back. So before labeling, I will tell you guys about renaming commands. So suppose you have a variable make, but suppose if you want to rename it, maybe you want to make it more explicit that what this variable is doing. Instead of going to label, you want to also make it more easy to understand. So you just say rename or just ren. Before going, I think it's better to go into help rename. So if you go to the help of rename command, so if you just write ren or you write down the whole rename function, the Stata will understand. So whatever you think is better. So now I will just write down ren and I want to say make as. So this is the actual existing name of the variable, and I want to give a new name. So suppose I want to give it a car underscore make. So I'm going to tell you that this is car make. As I told you guys before that we cannot use spaces between here. So it's so therefore I used underscore to make it more readable. So I press enter. Now if you can see here, this name is now renamed as car name. So I will come to my command window and will just press page up. My last command will appear, or you can go directly here in the review window. You can select it, Control C, go back to my do file. Right down here, I forgot to bring this thing here. So that from where I'm uploading the data. So Control C, Control V, and I'm saying clear here, so that whenever we run this do file, this clear command will first clear the data and then upload this auto.dta. So this is one of the way you can rename the rename the variables by using this command, or can for more understanding use it. And now I will show you guys that how you can label, change these labels. Suppose price. So suppose if I want to write that this price is car price. So what I will do, I will come here and I will say label, and this is a variable label. So I will say label var, which is for variable, and what's the actual variable, which is the price, and I want to rename it as car price. So I will say inverted commas, and in that inverted comma I will write down car space price. As I mentioned that we can use spaces in labels or variables, so that's why I can use, and that's why I'm using inverted commas, so that the Stata will understand from where the label is starting and where the label is ending. So I will say enter. Now if you see here, now we have the label of price is car price. So again I will copy this command and we'll write down back to my do file and save it. And before going further, I will it's better to also go to help of label. So in help of label, I will show you guys help. It's a label. So we have data labels, label variables, which we currently use. We have different kinds of label, and we have label values. The next thing I will show you guys about label define and label values. Actually, label define is used to label values. So in order to label anything, you have to define it. So this is something related to data, and this part is related to renaming the variable, and this part is related to if you want to label your data as something. This thing is, the first part is rarely used, but most of the time you usually use these three commands. So we close this help window. So now, before going to tell you guys about labeling values, I will tell you guys that how you can use if command in the Stata. Use of if command in Stata. So if I go to browse, so we have these prices, and I want to create a suppose if I want to create two categories in which I want to tell that the prices which are above 5,000 are high price, and the prices which are below 5,000 are low price. So how I can do that? So for that, I will create a variable first. So suppose gen is for generate, and then suppose I want to create a price cat variable, and then I say equal to, because I have to give it some value, and this price cat will be 1 or 2. So it means that it will be containing two categories. I will make those categories. I will label those value categories as 1 or 2. So suppose, but those 1 or 2 will be integers. So this variable should be an integer. So I will press in the start. I will start with a missing values in that variable, and after that I will put different values in this price cat by using the if function. So I will say dot. So if I press dot, and if I go back here and if I click this variable, you can see the Stata have given it a float. Float means it's a numeric variable. So by giving equal to dot means that Stata will consider it as a numeric variable. Suppose if I make another variable, suppose if I do this, you can also drop the variable by using just writing a drop and again price cat. So, but suppose if you, just an example, it's not relevant here, but suppose if you want to create this price cat as a string variable, what you will do, and before going to this thing, I will show you I will browse the data and I will show you that what Stata have done. So I think so I will browse it. So this is the Stata have created price cat, and the dot means that there is no data. This is missing data, and then I drop this price cat. And now suppose if I generate price cat, I want to create it as a string. So what I will do, price underscore cat is equal to, then inverted commas without anything in it. So Stata, now if you come here, this variable price cat which Stata have created a string, the type is string, that it means that it can contains alphabets in it. And if you browse it, you can see that there is nothing here now. So this is how you can tell Stata that you want that variable to be numeric or a string variable, but we need it as a string, numeric. So I'm going to draw price cat variable, and I will create it as a numeric. Page out. I'll go back to my Stata do file, and now I will, instead of again going here and writing command again and again, I will write my code now here. So I'm saying, so suppose if now you want to give this price cat is equal to 1 if the prices are less than 5,000 or less than equal to 5,000. So what I will do, replace price cat is equal to 1 if price variable is less than equal to 5,000. So I selected, so I have selected this line, and then I control D to execute it, and as you can see that Stata have made 37 real changes. So if I press browse now, and you can see in the price cat variables we have 1. As you can see, the price is below 5,000, price is below 5,000, price is above 5,000, so there is no change for that. Again we have price above for 5,000, and there is no change for that. Wherever we have price cat is equal to 1, it means the price is less than 5,000. So this is a quick check that are we doing it okay or not. I will show another thing here. So suppose if you want to run that, suppose control C, so suppose if you also want to replace it price cat is equal to 1 for when the price is equal to 5,000. So in that case, if you are using if command, you have to use double equal sign. Actually it's just the repeat, the above line is already doing equality, but I'm in just order to explain that if you have to use equal sign in if command, then you have to write double equal sign, and on the left side before if command you have to use the equal sign only once. So both, actually this command, this line number 16 is redundant because we have already done equality or have already added the equality in the above, but Stata will not give an error for this. If I execute it, probably there will be no real changes made because Stata have already made the change in the above line. So I have control D. As you can see that Stata have done 0 real changes made. And after that I will say, it was just to explain you, so I can just delete this line. Now if I copy this line again, come here and say replace price cat is equal to 2 if the price is greater than 5,000. Control D. So Stata have done again 37 real changes made. So I will browse it again in order to see now how things looks like. So we can see we have price cat 1 1 2 2, again 2 2 1. So if I go to 2 here, it should be above 6,000. So it means that our code is running properly. So now I will. So now is the time that I will define a label for these categories that I have defined, so that whenever I will go into my data, browse it, I will see, just like foreign or domestic, I will be able to see price below 5,000 or price above 5,000. So I will say label define, then you can give a random name to can write anything. So I will say price label. So you can write anything, it doesn't matter here, but be careful that there shouldn't be any space. And then I am going to say that one should be labeled as inverted commas below 5,000, and 2 will be labeled as above 5,000. So here I am defining the label. After that, so once I have defined the label, now I have to tell the Stata that which variable you want to define, which variable you want to label. So let's say label values, then a variable name which is price cat. I will say price cat here, and then which label you want to put over price cat, which is price label. Control V. So if I run this, Control S, Control D, so I have this Stata haven't given any errors, means we can go into browse window and see how you can do it. So now you can see it's below, we have label, but if you come here, you can see there is one actually behind it, just a label above. So, and we have above, below 5,000. So it means everything is working fine. So I will, and again, one thing I like to add to tell you guys that why it's important to label variables or label value, especially if there is a categorical function, a categorical variables. It's important to label because especially once you, in future videos when I will be reporting the results and or making graphs, so these labels will be appear in those graphs or in those tables instead of these variable names. So, and these variable names are more properly defined, have spaces in it. So if there will be no label, then Stata will show us these actual variable names, which will not look presentable in results like tables or in our graphs. So this is the short video which was about renaming the variables, labeling the variables, and then labeling the values.